promos for your team and objections. And I also have a lot of things to say because I don't know about y'all, but I am fired up from hearing all of those people talk. I've been here only 5 years, and one of the biggest tips I can give you, I'm a squirrel too if you've ever heard me talk, so y'all already know that, but y'all may not, is get around people, not just that have made more than you or had more success, but that have been here longer than you. I value talking to people like Chas and Maria and people that have been hit a lot harder than I can even imagine, because I promise you, if you want to go where they are, they've suffered a lot harder hits than you have in that moment, and they can tell you it's going to be okay. And so I want to share something with you that hit me in the last 6 months of my business, because the social media girl asked this question: what do you do when you get a bad taste in your mouth? And I just think it's super important, because if you do know me and you have followed me in this company, my team, I love my team, and you know my team. But about 6 weeks ago, within 1 week, I had 3 personally enrolled 200Ks turn off their accounts. And I said, okay. I said, they didn't go together. I said, I love you. Thank you for letting me serve you in that chapter of your life. Because I view myself as a coach. I'm a team captain though, because I'm not afraid to get dirty. Now, okay, I did cry, Cliff, I already know, like I texted him, I've cried, stuff like that, but I know that their story's not over, and neither is mine, okay? And so I view myself as a coach, and I show up every day and do the best job I can with the players that are willing to get on the field. And that's all I have control over. And that's all you'll ever have control over. And if you learn that day one, it will save you a lot of heartache. You will probably still have those things, but you know, you will be able to make it through anything. And it starts with one of the things we're gonna talk about is objections. It starts with, I have my notes so I can try to stay focused. It starts with, how are you going to overcome objections? I just view them as obstacles. So, when you leave here today, I want you to be so convicted in why you're here and what you're doing. I don't care what your paycheck is. Y'all, I have had some of paychecks that knock your breath away, and then other paychecks that knock your breath away. I'm not here for Tuesday. I'm here for 10 years from now. I hope that you see success and you know that you're no different, and you just have to face a few more obstacles than you already have. So, conviction. How convicted are you? If you are convicted, you will be able to make it through any objection, any good time, any bad time, and always stay in the game like you're 2 points down. Always stay in the game like you're 2 points down. Whether you've signed 5 customers this week, whether your team is popping off, whether it's the biggest check you've ever had, imagine that it's you have a few seconds left in the game and you're a few points down. What are you gonna give? What are you gonna give? So let's talk about objections. I'm not gonna go through the most common objections, because the truth is it doesn't matter. Whether someone doesn't have the money, they don't have the time, I'm gonna tell you what I do with an objection. I turn it into what I'm gonna post about and what I'm gonna talk about, period. If you tell me you don't have the money, I'll say, you know what, I'm gonna keep that in mind. Let me know when you do. But I'm not done. I'm not done with that thought. I'm not done with your objection, but you've just given me something to post about. I'm gonna post about thriving for free. I'm gonna post about creating an extra income. Objections tell me how to work my business, because now I know how to close you. That doesn't scare me, that fuels me. I had a girl the other day that was like, man, if I could just, find something where I could be home with my kids. I just don't have the time. And instead of me shoving Thrive and this opportunity down her throat, I was like, well, I know what I'm posting about for the next week. When someone gives you an objection, put it in your back pocket. Don't try to force value in that current situation. Let it be how you work your business the next day and the next day, and keep collecting those objections. That tells you how you can close people. Objections are a good thing. Okay. Sorry, my phone keeps shutting off and I will just talk all over the place. So, also another thought that I wrote down while these amazing women and men were talking is the more you have to lose. So if your mindset about objections and the highs and the lows isn't in check, I promise you $1 million in the bank won't change that. I promise you a really big team won't change that, because you think it's hard when one person quits. Well, what are you gonna do whenever you have 10,000 people on your team and 400 of them decide they're going to sell fidget spinners? You're gonna keep doing what you're convicted in doing, okay? So it doesn't ever get easier, you just get better. So don't be fooled to think, well, I'll feel safe one day. It's not that I feel unsafe, I feel convicted. That's where my safety comes from. Let's talk about promos. I love this, I tell my team this all of the time. Do not wait for the company to launch a promo. A promo does not generate interest. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. A promo does not generate interest. A promo closes a relationship that already exists. If you are waiting to post, if you're waiting to work your business, if you are waiting for those things, you're too late. Be working, and when the company drops that promo, now you have something to message somebody and you can close them, okay? That's just something I preach to my team all the time. Another thing, a personal promo for your team does not generate momentum, it reinforces it. So I don't look at my team and go, wow, we're kind of slow today, because guess what? They're probably frustrated. It's probably if it's hard in my head, I know maybe they're going through man, I just can't beat this wall down. Well, what good is me going, hey, I'm gonna do a promo? They're like, oh great, even more pressure to accomplish. No, we're gonna talk about skill set then, and we're gonna talk about action steps. I drop a promo when things are rolling. Things are not always moving and grooving. They're just not even I have 23,000 people on my team. It's not like that every day, okay? But when it is, when you get in that sweet spot, that's when you drop a promo. It's like adding fuel to the fire. So many times I hear leaders say, I wish I could just make my team work. What can I give away? Nothing. If they're not convicted in why they're here and they're not working to create a life, a future for themselves, you giving away something won't create. It will reinforce. So ask yourself, whenever you're wanting to drop a promo for your team, what's your motive? And I always ask my leaders that. I mean, my leaders can tell you. They're like, hey, I want to do a promo. And I'm like, what's your motive? Because I have a degree in behavior. So I always try to figure out the motive. And they'll go, we need more volume. And I'm like, well, what are your current enrollments? We're not really enrolling anyone. Okay, let's talk about how we can actually sign potentials then. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about getting people to do lives. Let's close some people, create some momentum, and then let's reinforce it with a promo, okay? So don't get so caught up on doing things for your team to create something that's not already there. Reinforce that little, like, wherever Nikki went, that little, like, sprout. How are you gonna create 2 of those? And then 4, huh? Yeah, how are you gonna get all those strawberries? How are you gonna turn it into another one? But you can't be like, oh, I'm so excited, I'm gonna dump all my water on this, or you're gonna kill it, okay? So just remember that. Another thing that my team does really, really well is during the winter, we do this whole initiative for raising money for the elderly in nursing homes. And so we do promos for, like, we will ask our customers, hey, we're raising money for hand lotions for nursing homes, and we each have a goal of $800 in personal, like, volume and sales. We raise that from the community, from Facebook, from our current, people that order, and then we turn around and donate that to that population. I want you to think about that idea. You could do that in so many areas. That was something that I was super passionate about because my grandmother was in a facility, my grandfather is now, so that was a new world to me and an idea that we had. Maybe you have a family of teachers. Maybe you have a family of frontline workers. Maybe your husband is a cop. How can you do promos for a certain population where you are impacting way more than just, I hate when people say get a customer. I promise you, you won't get anybody, they get us. And so how can you go make an impact on a group of people by running a promo that is not designed to get anything but to give? Because when you can impact a group of people, your customers will come to you. That's where referrals come from. That you're not doing anything with an expectation, you're doing it with intention to make an impact. I think that's all I have to say. Go ahead, Chas.
I want to talk about, I just want to reiterate, she said she's been here 5 years, I've been here eight and a half years. And I think if you're just starting out, there is so much power in knowing that there's probably nothing new that somebody in the leadership in the organization hasn't gone through. So when she said, ask, reach out, how did you handle this objection? How did you deal with this? Put your pride aside and ask a leader, whether that's a sideline leadership, upline, downline, however it is, ask them how they handled that. I know you reached out to me and asked me, Chas, how did you do when people, would leave? And I'll never forget my first 200K that went a different direction. And I was sitting in the pool with my grand giggle, and she's like, well, you look sad. And I said, I am sad. She's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, Sally decided to go to another business. She's not going to be a Thriver anymore. And she's like, who's Sally? And in that moment, it reminded me that the legacy that I'm building impacts my grandkids and my kids. They don't remember Sally. They remember what Wella does and if Wella keeps going. So you have to understand, again, your path and where you are headed and why you got started in this, and it'll shift everything for you. So set your pride aside if you're just getting started or you do get in that funk. I heard someone say, well, we're in the funk, well, for months. Don't stay there. There's a lot in those affirmations and the I ams, but what Paul said is, I am gonna reach out to 5 people a day. I am not gonna get stuck for a month. You've got to put the brakes on and go, I've been feeling some kind of way for too long, whether that's a day for you or that's a week, and you have to say, hey, I do need somebody to check me. So when people ask, what's a success in your business, is I am not afraid to ask for help. I'm not afraid to, if I'm in a funk or stagnant. And Amber and I were talking yesterday, and she said something, I went, am I doing that too? And she's like, no. But be okay with that, someone else helping you, because they've removed the blinders that you have on. So I just wanted to interject on that.
No, I love that. And you can learn way more from your struggles than you can your successes. I promise you, nobody that's made it to the top has not, I said it earlier, they have struggled so much more. And the thing that's so different about our company, I've been with other companies, and something I'm so thankful for is we talk about it. In other companies, you don't mention losing rank, you don't mention a team quitting, you block them, and you're taught to not talk to them. And I don't do that here. I mean, I will tell you straight up, 2 of my 200Ks that left, I ordered from them at their new company. Why? Because I love them. I want to support them, and I already know, because I've been here not as long as some of you, but they're gonna order Thrive again. You can't go without your Thrive. I had it this morning, getting ready, one of my old 80Ks that left. She's like, I really miss da-da-da, and I'm like, I know you do. I'm just like, okay, awesome. So don't, I don't know, whenever you come in, to contact with those obstacles in your business, don't harden your heart. That's another thing Chas taught me, is serve your team, love them and do for them, and don't let any unfortunate circumstances change the way you love people. It's very easy to be like, oh no, I'm not letting anybody near me now. I promise you, one of my girls who we used to not get along at all mailed me this thing the other day, and it said, don't worry, the right people won't leave. And she couldn't be any more right. It doesn't take a bunch of the right people, it just takes the right people. So I don't know, that's so all over the place, but I am so emotional and fired up after hearing all of them talk. Okay, I'm gonna pass it down to Coop.
Well, hello. All right, so, whoa, if I don't break the chair first, oh my goodness. All right, hi guys. So, to piggyback off Court, listen, there's ebbs and flows in life, right? Adversity is uncomfortable. That's kind of the point and what gets you to success. It's not gonna be easy. I always say it's like a roller coaster, right? You're gonna get on the ride, you're strapping in the harness, and you're like, okay, ready for the ride. You're going up, everything's great. Then you get to the edge and you're like, oh my God, you can't jump off. You're strapped in, right? So as long as you stay on the ride, you're gonna hit some corkscrews, your stomach's gonna drop, right? You're gonna scream, you might cry, it's okay. Get it out, be a human, but stay on the ride and keep going. That's where your greatness is made, you guys. Adversity, tap into it. I also had leaders leave. Here, let's be vulnerable. Who's lost rank in this room? Hey, it happens. Guess who wins? those that keep going, right? Those that allow that moment in time to sharpen who they are, sharpen that skill set, and you keep going. And in that moment, that's not, it's an objection with yourself. You feel kind of, but it's actually a redirection into where you're meant to go and who you're made to be. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
All right, thank you. All right, are you playing offense or defense in your business? This is something Court and I talk about, often. You know, my husband played pro hockey and he was a defenseman. Okay, so his job is to keep the puck out of the net, hit bodies, eat the pucks, protect his goalie, and just really protect his team. Can he score goals? Yeah. But his main thing is to protect. Okay? If you're playing offense, you're forward focused on the next goal. So what are you doing in your business right now? Are you forward focused? Are you looking left, looking right? If you're taking what happened last month, maybe you didn't hit a rank. I didn't re-rank last month, but guess what? We're more unified than ever and people are winning. The right people, okay? Because people don't leave where they're loved, right? So if you're carrying on from last month and the drama and the BS of, people, oh, so-and-so left, okay, bless and release. What can you control? GPOT, your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and loving on your people that are here, period. I can't relate to somebody that just lives in the self-doubt and the woe is me. And I encourage you guys to step up and realize that you have a big heart, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you are going to be at the top. A rank doesn't make a leader. You do that with your heart and how you continue to show up. So that's all I got.
Okay, so I am a 200K, I'm a wife. I teach martial arts, so I apologize if I look somewhere else. I get hit in the head a lot. But here's the thing. I'm a human first. And I think we've kind of gotten to where sometimes when we're reaching out to people, I know Paul said this, and I apologize if I might go off like Paul and go somewhere else. So reel me back in. But we've gotten to where we treat people, we try not to, I know a lot of us don't, but we'll treat people like they're numbers. You've got to be a human first. And for you to get over objections, get to know the people. Get to know why they need it. I cannot stress this enough. Get to know people. That's why I feel like we've retained our auto elite. When did Starless came out like 5 years ago? We didn't have it then. We've had it 7 months in a row now, straight, and that's the first time because we started putting emphasis on everyone else I was reaching out to. If you feel like your warm market is shot, trust me, people have left, they come back. We just had someone just the other day, she's been gone 6 months. She messaged Tara and was like, guys, I'm thriving again, thank God. I've been trying to do all these other products, never again. So, be a human first because people really need that, especially now. I know all of us understand that. One other thing that I was thinking of, I know we talked about this, Coop, I know you mentioned it, about objections with ourselves. Guys, get mad. If you want that for yourself, get with your team. What can you do to help them? Because they're struggling too. They're stressed too. You've got to show them the way as well, right? What's that last thing I was going to say? And I've lost my notes, guys. So keep me on track. But, we've had stuff happen too. And Chastity and I have talked about this. My mom passed away 6 months ago. And I got to tell you, if I would have just stopped, my mom would have been so upset with me. Because she knows what I'm worth. You guys are worth it. You have it. We have the best products and company out there, hands down. Trust me, we get hit up all the time. Have you seen this new product? Hey, I went over here to this company. That's fantastic. I'm so excited for you. What I have is phenomenal, and you can't beat that. So the biggest thing I wanted to kind of leave you guys with, you're going to have objections, absolutely. But if you're not connecting with them, you're not going to know how to overcome those objections for them or with them. And the bigger thing is, get with someone. Don't do this on your own. If I'm not reaching out to Nikki, I'm reaching out to Angel. I'll reach out to Silence. I've got somebody else now I'm going to be reaching out to a lot more for reels and stuff and snacks. But
y'all hear her conviction though? Like, can you hear the conviction in her voice? That's a decision, you guys. Like, that is a decision that no matter how hard it gets, she knows where she is. She knows what she has her hands on. Like, that's huge. I gotta piggyback off one thing she said is that if you're frustrated, your team is. One thing I've learned as a leader the hard way, and the leaders in this room that are on my team couldn't tell you because all of those other people quit me during this time. I would get frustrated and I would take it out on my team. The people on your team that are willing to show up and listen to that call or that Zoom where you're frustrated, those aren't the people you should be frustrated with. Those are the people that feel just like you do that probably don't make as much money as you do yet. And that was a huge wake-up call for me. I got on a Zoom one time with my team and I thought, what is going on? What can't y'all get over? And they literally started turning their cameras off. This was in 2017, I will never forget. And I'm like, why are they all turning their cameras off? Like, they're already slacking. No, those weren't the slackers. Those were the people that wanted it. And it gut checked me so fast to know, do not ever take your frustration out on your team. Take the people on your team back to the drawing board of how does Thrive make you feel? Because the people showing up are not the people, that's not the reason why you're not successful. And sometimes we get in our head and think that. So just, man, yeah, know that we all get frustrated. The best person that's at the top should still get frustrated, right? Even if you're making $1 million a month because you want more. Are you here for just you? Or are you here for your team?
Yeah, and you know what it is? It's a mindset. I mean, I think every leader that's been on here on every panel has mentioned mindset. If you don't have that mindset, guys, get with somebody and they'll help you. We are here to help you. I can't tell you, I'm leaning forward like this is serious. I can't tell you how often I'll hear someone say, well, I know you're busy. I don't care. That's why we have voicemail. So I've got text message, messenger, get a hold of me. Trust me, I will get back to you. I am here to help you. I want to show you and help you succeed. You got to show up for yourself too. That's what I'm saying.
I quit getting that statement of you're too busy when I would say, I get paid on Tuesday and I'm not too busy to deposit that paycheck. So it started shifting. Oh wait, she gets paid. You know, she benefits from me, and so the calls started coming in. And I might not be available right then, but I'm not too busy, and I want because what happens is they're too busy, and then nobody's calling. Yeah. So that kind of shifts it. Like
then you start to kind of like, well, you know, I'll figure it out, and then you're just sitting there. Don't do that. You have someone a phone call away, arm reach away. I mean, we're all pretty much local. Well, you know, and so. You've got that, so utilize it for sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna be like real raw, real. So I hope y'all are okay with that. Who in this room, I think somebody said it a while ago, has lost a rank? Raise your hand. Who in this room has had a downline leave the business? Raise your hand. Who in this room has had an upline leave the business? Raise your hand. Who just had their sponsor leave the business? Raise your hand. Hi, been there, done all of it. I've been here 8.5 years. I've hit the top rank of the company, and I've fallen all the way back to 12K. I've fought my way back. I fall again. I fought halfway back up. I said, I'm not doing it. I'm so over it. But I didn't actually leave. I just left working the business. I would post here and there, always had my DFT on, checked in with a few team members, but I'll be honest, my mind checked out. I kept saying, I will never leave LaBelle. You know, like you hear all these people are like, oh, everybody reaches out to me to like join this other business. Okay, so here's where I was. About, I guess maybe really all this started changing in January. My mind, like Jennifer Zant said earlier, I had those negative thoughts, okay? When your best friend that you have met in this company calls you after years of thriving with you and says, I need to be honest with you and tell you that like for months, I have not been thriving. I've left my commissions in my back office and I haven't cashed them in because I just feel bad, but I've been lying to you. I haven't been thriving forever and I've actually started another business. Guess what my mind said? One, Kristen, your best friend is not thriving and you didn't know it. Two, you suck as a leader.
Who has ever thought that? Like, you just suck as a leader. That's where I was at. Here's my other negative thought that I have. I have friends in this business that came in maybe the month before me, maybe the same stinking day I did, maybe years after me. Pretty much every leader that I hang out with in this business has crossed that millionaire stage. Guess who has not yet? Keyword yet. Me. That can get in your head. You know, you always hear, be around the 5 people that like bring out the best in you. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the best time with. Guess what? That negative thought in my head was, okay, you hang out with really amazing people, so apparently you just don't get it, and you suck. Like, that, my head tells me I suck a lot, but I don't. So back in January, I did the detox because I didn't physically like where I was. I hated what I saw in the mirror, which is exactly the reason why I started the Thrive Experience. I was hiding from the world. When I sucked it up and admitted to myself, that's where I was at again. I said, I cannot go crawl back in the bed with the covers over my head, with my kids and my husband in the living room laughing and having a good time, because that's where I was when I started this. And I felt myself going back there. My friends would say, hey, come do this event with me. Oh, I'm busy, I can't do that, because I didn't want anybody to see me. Did the detox. Yes, physically I changed, but guess what it did? It changed something up here, okay? It just physically and emotionally changed myself. Fast forward a few months, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna dip my toe back in this water of being consistent with this. Yeah, okay, good days, bad days, good days, bad days. Thrive-Palooza came around. I have only missed one, again, been here 8.5 years. Since they started that, I've only missed one due to my child being in a competitive cheer competition in another state the same weekend. I made every excuse in the book. My husband and I made every excuse in the book. We did not buy tickets. And then when we were like, oh, we probably should have done that, we were like, oh, it's too late. Some things happened, and the life that we were like supposed to be living that weekend in another state canceled. Like, it all crashed and burned where we were supposed to be. And at that point, you can think, okay, it's me, something's wrong with me again. But sometimes God steps in and says, you didn't listen, so I'm kind of gonna rip the carpet out from underneath you and make you pay attention. So we text Lori and Maria and said, hey, you're gonna have to give us updates, like our weekend got canceled. And Lori Tate said, well, why don't you come? Y'all, we live on a farm. I'm standing in shorts, my t-shirt rolled up on my sleeves, sweating, my hair is in a bun. I don't know, I probably had like a gardening hat on, like y'all keep talking about gardens. I'm like, yeah, that's my life. It was 4:30. If you know me, it takes me forever to get ready. And I looked at Josh and I said, we're supposed to be there. There's something about it, we're supposed to be there. Lori went, got us tickets, said, I've got them ready for you. We showed up. I'm standing in that room, and here come the thoughts. Look at all your friends. All of your friends went to that millionaire dinner. All of your friends are crossing the stage. You can't do this, Kristen. Maria Dillard walks up to me. And in true Maria, love you where you're at, but I'm gonna be real bold with you, grabs my face like this and says, you're meant to be here. I'm so tired of you hiding. Get it together. Okay, if Maria Dillard ever told you to get it together, it's kind of intimidating. I'm just gonna be honest, it's a little intimidating. And she's told me this throughout, guys, like this is not something I haven't heard before. But she grabs my face and she says this, but let me backtrack just a second so it ties it all together. 2 years ago, almost 3 years now, my husband's family started another business, and we took on a large portion of making that business happen on the daily. It took a lot out of us. It was my excuse not to really thrive. It really was, to not work my business. But I'm in an industry where people drive all night. I'll just tell you, it's the rodeo industry, barrel racing, all of that, living in Texas, right? Hey, barrel racer, rodeo, something back here, okay. They drive all night, they live on energy drinks, they don't sleep, they eat like crap. Maria looks at me as ooey is coming out at Thrive-Palooza, and she grabs my face. Here she is, and she says, "You can be a millionaire if you just tell those barrel racers to stop drinking Monsters and grab an OE." Okay. Sure, Maria, I can do that. That's no problem. I left that night and I told Josh what Maria told me. And he said, "So are you gonna do it?" I said, "Probably not." Probably not. I said, "That would really, really stretch me. If I literally walked up and took a monster out of someone's hand and gave him a Dewey, that would stretch me." But guess what? Something happened. All of a sudden it dawned on me, I've been doing it wrong. I've spent 3 of the last years of my life building those relationships with these barrel racers that when they break down on the side of the road and they don't have anybody in that town and they're 19 years old, they call me and go, "Hey, do you have a connection in this state, somebody that can come help me change a tire? Or I'm stuck overnight with my horse. Do you know of anybody in this area that I can sleep with? Like stay at their house." Sorry, that sounded bad. Not that. Sorry. Yeah, because I've built these relationships. Guys, Thrive has been the same thing. Like, hello. Why am I not doing this in the exact same way as that? Why am I not building those relationships here? All of a sudden, I started thinking to all of these people that have a need that I know about that I can change. How many of you have ever thought, well, I'm not going to talk to somebody about Thrive because they're never going to take all 3 steps, so it's just like it's not even worth talking to them about it? Who thinks that? Who thinks if it's not a customer that orders the exact 3 steps, then they probably shouldn't just order it all? Have you ever thought that? Okay, that was me. I thought if I don't get every single person on the 3 steps, then I'm doing it wrong. Like again, there's that negative voice in my head, I'm doing it wrong, I'm doing it wrong, I'm doing it wrong. I had to start meeting people where they were at, and that changed everything in the business for me. I started listening to these girls go, "I can't shut my brain off at night. I have something that can help that." "You do?" "Oh yeah. You wanna know about it?" "Yeah, I do." "Okay, come here, sit down. While we're at this barrel race, sit down next to me, let me tell you all about it." Putting people in a chat with them. "Hey, we're gonna call my friend right here. Like, we're gonna talk to her. I don't eat well." "Okay, well, you need better nutrition. Do you have something for that?" "Yeah, I sure do. You know those things that you've seen me post for the last 8.5 years? That'll fix that." "Oh, that will? Really?" "Yeah, it'll fix it." So I had to start meeting people where they were at. I had to immediately start listening. Guys, if you're doing this and not this, there's a reason God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen for what they need. There are moms and dads and team members and potentials all over the place that you're going to encounter every single day, and they will tell you what they need. I cannot shut my brain off when I go to bed. You have a solution for that mom that is exhausted because she can't shut her brain off because she's so worried about the next day. Fix it. Fix that right there. Continue to build the relationship, and guess what that does? They start saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm sleeping so much better. I'm not all concerned about the next day." You fix the problem. It opens the door to other products. If you think that was fantastic, sister, let me tell you about these other steps. Okay, that is how, guys, my PPA was 0 for the longest time. 0. When I decided after Thrive-Palooza to get my crap together and meet people's needs right where they were at, my PPA went 30 in 30 days. I met people where they were at. I loved people where they were at. I knew that they needed this. And on top of that, I knew I could do this. I had to change this. I've preached for 8.5 years to my team. If you fix your mind, you'll fix your problems. But I'd stopped living in that, and I had to get it together. So love people, listen to what they need, fix the problem.
So you became a ask and not an ass. Yeah. You ASK'd them.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. I think one of the things thing that is so important is to know what people need. You know, Maria knew what you needed at that moment, and that's what you have to know what your team needs. You know, if you just have 2 people in your organization or 1 person, know why they're here, and then know that that's going to evolve and change. You can't just, and your promos are not always a monetary promo or a product promo. Maybe it is an hour coaching call with you, or an upline or a sideline, or hey Lydia, can you do a social media special with somebody in my organization? What is it that your team needs, and what is it that you need? I'm going to go through my bullets because I just now wrote notes. So it's not always that monetary promo, but you have to also know what you need, and it's okay to ask. You know, if sometimes I tell Amber all the time, I say I apologize because I feel like sometimes you're my garbage can, and that sounds horrible, but I do dump up. You know, I am very intentional, not spewing cancer and crap downline in my organization. I don't paint a picture everything's rosy and great, but I go up. We're 8.5 years, I go up to Amber, and I know that she's a solutionist. We're gonna talk about the situation, and then we're gonna have a solution. The other thing I want to talk about with our obstacles is that you've got to make that obstacle the opportunity of what we said. But, in February, when my life kind of just flipped upside down, I was so in a mindset of like, don't label me, I won't be a widow, like I'm not gonna be those things. And when I opened my mind to, I can help so many people, like you said, the women that are not sleeping at night, the women that are 4 years into their grief journey and they just can't put their feet on the floor, like I have something that they need. And it makes me go back to 8.5 years ago. Amber had something that I needed, and had she not shared that with me, where would I be now? So I wanna just encourage you, be proactive as you're building your business. I didn't realize 8.5 years ago that I would need this financial foundation. I thought I didn't need this. I had a great career in corporate America. I had a great job, but I still was building a foundation that 8.5 years ago I would need to stand on. Last year was building a foundation in my health, putting the good things in my body, that when my body couldn't show up for me, I was being proactive. So just know you are gonna hit obstacles. You're going to hit roadblocks. You're gonna hit things that are just gonna wipe you completely out, but it's what you do with them. How you get back up, how you decide. And people say to me all the time, Chas, how are you getting back up? It's not because I decided just today to get back up. I've been doing a lot of work. Like I've been doing trauma healing for a long time, preparing me for something that I never knew I would walk into. So start preparing now for that team that you wanna have. Start leading now, because we're telling you, you're gonna have crap show up in your team. Be preparing now. How am I gonna deal with that when my first 200K, maybe you're here brand new and you're not even 4K, I want you to think, how am I gonna handle when my first 200K walks out of the business? You need to be thinking about that now. That's not gonna rock me. That's not gonna knock me down. So be proactive. Be putting that product in your body so that you can show up for your grand giggles, for the people that need you to show up for them. Create a financial foundation that whether you want to give it all away or you want to invest it, you have options. I say all the time, I know what options feel like, so I never want to lose not one option. Not whether it's if I want to run a marathon or if I want to give $1 million to charity. I know what options feel like, so I'm never going to let an obstacle keep me from those options. So,
real fast. Sorry, somebody go for it. So one thing really quick, just what you said about the obstacles, having those weeds in your garden, got it, Nikki, is whenever people come to me and say, well, I don't know how to reach out to, I've already gone to my warm market. I hear this a lot sometimes, right? Guys, I just sent out postcards to all of my neighbors, introducing who we were. I even started a Facebook group for our new community. If there was, like our old neighborhood, if there was a Facebook group, I did a QR code. Y'all, I just learned how to do this. I didn't know how to do it, but I figured it out. Talent. Right, Nikki? Tara, talent. But you just find those ways. Don't just stop when you have an obstacle, and you've got the people to help you do it. So if you feel like you're stuck, you're not stuck. Ask for help. So
I love that. Another thing she just reminded me to talk about is I asked my team not long ago what they wanted, like what did make them feel valued as far as like a promo goes. And I was so shocked because for so long in this business, I thought that you needed like an Instagram worthy business. And I will tell you right now, my Instagram got hacked. And if you're only doing it for Instagram, you're not doing it for the right reason, okay? You're not gonna make an impact. You're impressing someone with a bunch of fluff. So I went to my team, and instead of doing these promos that were cool that they could tag me in, right? Because it made us look like this cool team, I was like, what do you want from me? And I was so shocked at how many of them, one of my very best friends, she just left. She's like, I just want your time. I just want your time. She's like, when I go 200K, I don't want a bag. I'd like a weekend with just you. And it really was like, wow, you've got to know the pulse of your people. You've got to know the pulse from everyone, from your potentials to your customers to your team members. What makes them tick? It's probably not what you think, and it's probably not as expensive as you've created in your mind. People just want to know you love them. They want your time. They want you to teach them. That is something that, you know, they can't go buy in the store, and you can't go buy in the store and give them, but you can give anyone your time. That was a huge eye-opener for me as a leader.
Yeah, that's me. Quality time.
You said
It's fine.
So last night I kicked my husband out of my bedroom, and he's like, where am I sleeping? And I'm like, I don't know, figure it out. Coop's sleeping with me because we don't ever get to lay in bed and talk till we fall asleep. And that was like so special and important to me. Yeah, to my business, but to my friendships. That's another thing I've learned is you don't need to be everyone's best friend. You just have to love the people that are in your life when they are, and that are on your team when they are. Love them where they're at, and know they might be in your chapter tomorrow, and they might not, and that's okay.
Yeah, some people are in your life for a season, some are here for a lifetime, and that's okay. Leave them better than when you found them, regardless, even though sometimes you want to give them a swift kick. I understand, can relate. When it comes to sampling, really quick, you guys, Paul mentioned this earlier. You have to have the conviction, just like Court said as well, and I don't ever give people an out. I don't let them say, maybe. I'm like, no, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and send this to you on me, no problem at all. And I am going to, all I need is your email, shipping, and sell, okay? We're gonna get this out to you from corporate on me, sound good. So they sound good at the end, you're assuming, hey, yeah, they want this. It's reverse psychology. You're making up their mind for them. So if you ever say, let me know, there's a 99% chance they're never gonna let you know, okay? So sample, free all access account. Sample, free all access account every time, okay? That way that person's connected to you. You do the service as a leader to be there for them as a human. So if there's anything you grasp from today, it is mindset, GPOT, consistency, and just keep going. Just keep going. Yeah.
No, I love.
Get people on Thrive. Put her in Overthrive. Google container? No? Nobody? Okay.
So what I really love that you said in our discussion was you're asking people their love language. Need to know, right? You need to communicate with people. That goes back to the whole, oh, I've got this objection. They said I don't have money. I don't have this. Hey, girl, I feel ya. I felt the same way. Guys, get to know them, right? The second thing was assume the sell. To go out to piggyback up. Assume the sell. They're interested. They want to know. Don't just say, well, do you want to sign up and go ahead, I'll get you a sample. I already assume they want a month's worth or an all-in pack. We sold, I don't want to say sold, I'm not that person. We shared our experience with somebody who was coming over to sell us solar panels. He bought 2 all-in packs right there. Okay, we had our AT&T guy there last night. He's now our promoter, and he showed us a picture this morning that he's got his DFT on. So it's a community, okay? The big thing, community. Create a community that people are gonna wanna stay on Thrive. Keep them on Thrive, that's what you're saying.
KPOT. So I remember whenever the pandemic hit and Paul called me and he was like, I could tell in his voice he was trying to like make sure I was calm, you know, like because I'm a freak out. And so I knew he was like, well, you know, like your business can really take off. And I was like, Paul, I'm essential. I have to go. And he's like, oh, okay, talk to you later. And that applies whether there's a pandemic or not. How convicted are you in what you have to share with who you're talking to? How convicted are you in why you're here and why are you with this company whenever you're in front of your team and when you're bringing on that newest team member or talking to one of your OGs? You've got to know, and if you don't, I just like cannot urge you enough. Y'all, my PPA, talking about that, it was 0 in December. And that shocks me still to even say out loud. I'm gonna tell you right now, like I had to go back to the drawing board, and my husband sat me down, and he's like a real smart A. He was like, well, why don't you just go ahead and call Paul and turn your account off if you think you're not good enough anymore? And I was like, he's like, I'll just find some job. And I was like, okay, shut up. No, like that's not what I'm doing. He goes, do you still like the product? And I was like, I love the product. And he's like, do you like the company? And I'm like, heck yeah, I like the company. And he's like, would you even be thinking these thoughts if this other thing wasn't going on? And I was like, no. And he's like, then remember why you're here and why you're doing this. Guys, you don't have to be successful to be successful. Your mindset's what will determine if you're successful.
I'm gonna let Kristen talk, but I wanted to say this the other day how many of y'all listened to Paul's call, his recorded call that we got like last week or something? For 8.5 years, Paul has said the same thing. Yeah. For 8, and sometimes I'm honest, I would be like, oh, he's saying the same thing. But it shows me like we've got to, that's how I went 200K, is saying the same thing. Like Starla said, sharing that story, saying the same thing. My story has evolved and it's changed, but it still capsules on an empty stomach to get out of bed and having the opportunity that we have attached to this product. So I love that he leads by that example, because what did he say up here? The same thing that we heard at Locals 8.5 years ago. He sounds like a broken record, but I guarantee you he's not shy, very far away from that billionaire status that he had dinner with. And why? Because he's saying the same thing and he's going back to the basics, doing what we did in the beginning and repeating and repeating. So
Susan's staring at us over here.
Susan's ready. Okay,
our
one
time
thing.
got cut.
Yeah, y'all stole our time by asking all those questions.
Actually, it was cool.
So you were talking about like love languages and things like that, y'all. Like, and then back to promos. Like I was trying to like come it all together. I had to learn not only like what worked for my team. Like, okay, does monetary promos work for them? Is that gonna like help them? Like if they're trying to like hit that rank or something like that. Like Courtney said, like plan ahead. Like don't sit here on the 25th and be like, oh, Susie is $8,000 away from hitting 4K. Let me see what I can help her do. Guys, y'all need to be in your back office helping these people every single step of the way, but figure out what it is. Like, yes, know their love language, but also figure out like what pushes them. Is it like, hey, if you hit this rank, I'm going to take you to this restaurant, time with me. I'm gonna buy you this bag, whatever those things are. Like figure out what motivates people. Maybe it's something for their family, but you can do that with your customers too. Like if cash back motivates them and helps them when you're trying to meet their need, do it. Or what if it's credits up front that helps with that? So meet people where they're at and figure out how you can help them get on that right track.
Here she comes.